Hello, everybody. Episode 6 of the Last Buzz podcast. Welcome back, everybody. And by everybody, I mean like 7 people.
If we're generous.
Because, yeah, two of the views are you and I, and then like our pets. But who gives a shit? We love doing this, and it's for the fans. I'm your host, Glenny B. I'm with my co-host here, Husky. And quickly, before we run into some stuff here, um, guys, if you subscribe to the channel, you enter the chance to win the best jersey you can ever get your hands on. And it's not an authentic pro by Fanatics. It's just right above the practice jersey. So like, comment, share, and subscribe. And yeah, you might be the lucky ones if, by 2028 we get 1,000 subscribers. Anyways, Ale, what's up? How are you doing, man?
Yeah, it was good. I kind of like that RA introduction with the hello, everybody.
100%.
Shout out RA, probably getting canned, but we're hoping for the best.
He's not going back on that.
Like he's part of the new intro video. I don't know if you noticed, like they changed it up.
Yeah.
Like it's not like that aggressive, like mega song. They make it like a bit more mellow. So we'll see if he ever comes back or not. But yeah, it made me laugh a bit when I heard your little hello. So yeah, hi everyone. We're back, episode 5, baby.
Episode 6.
It is episode 6. I just created the file too for what we're going to be sharing today, our buzzer beater bet results. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I was going to start with some F1 news, but we just got some breaking news, Glenn. If you
Breaking news. Put the horn in the freaking. You got the sound effects. Come on, man.
Yeah, let me try this out. Breaking news.
You guys ever hear of a name Lars Eller? Well, if you haven't, he used to be. That remember him from back in the day.
You're gonna have to restart that actually, because that crowd noise, I think it fully went over your voice. So restart your thought.
No problem there, LA. The guy on the controls. But yes, if you guys know Lars Eller, this guy was on the Pittsburgh Penguins this afternoon and just got shipped to his old team, Washington Capitals, for a 5th. Honestly, you break down because you know more of the ins and outs of those draft picks.
Yeah, so it just came out. So basically, it's a 5th round pick in 2025 that belongs to the Chicago Blackhawks. So it's basically a 4th round pick because we don't expect them to do well this year. And then a 2027 3rd round pick, the year that we might break actually the 1,000 subscriber mark for Lars Eller, which honestly is getting older. I was actually curious to see how he was doing a few days ago. I think he's like 34, 35 years old now.
Yeah.
So the little Habs rookie that we got for Yaro Halak made his way through the NHL, played. This always been a reliable 3rd, 4th center. I think Washington, like we spoke on the last episode, they've been popping off lately. Ovechkin feels like he's 26 years old again. So
yeah, he's on the gas.
Yeah, the Russian gas is just pumping through his veins right now.
But what do you think of this trade on Pittsburgh's part? Because I see from BR Open Ice on X here, Kyle Dubas is looking to make some player in, player out moves to fix the roster in the near future. Kyle Dubas told teams that everyone is available except for Crosby. Exactly. What do you make of that?
That's what I was gonna mention today. Like I think I was listening to a video earlier today that literally everyone's available except Crosby. So now the first thing people are gonna think about is if Malkin gonna be on the move and be leaving Pittsburgh after signing a contract not too long ago. Same thing for Letang. So we'll see if he shakes things up after giving those contracts out to the bunch of geezers.
I know.
The Pittsburgh Penguins are now. So definitely it's a first move. It's a minor move. So hopefully the Pittsburgh fan are not crazy like the Habs fan thinking that they're going through a full rebuild. We'll see what comes the next couple of days if those rumors that pretty much everyone's available except Crosby are true. Although I gotta side with my boy Biz here. Send Crosby to Colorado, baby. Make it happen.
Yeah, I totally agree. I just don't understand, like look, Crosby, he's one of those guys who he got drafted by Pittsburgh and he's super loyal. He just wants to finish his career off with the Penguins. I personally think he made a big mistake because look at everyone around you, Crosby. You got to basically up their game to just like play, like be able to even scratch or sniff the chance to make the playoffs. They are not making the playoffs. This team stinks. Malkin and Letang, they're good players, and Carlson, they're good players, but they are old. You need young, good players. It goes back to like the first or second episode that we had where I mentioned Gensel. That's the guy that you wanted to keep, that you should have kept to sort of build around him, not get him like trade him for honestly not that much to Carolina, and now he's with yours truly, Tampa Bay Lightning. What a team! Sound. We'll get into them later, but like I don't know, Pittsburgh, Kyle Dubas. I don't like what they're doing at all, and you know, I feel like Crosby low key regrets signing that 3 year. Like, why'd you do that, buddy?
I don't think he regrets it. Maybe he always had in the back of his mind that, if he signs a team friendly contract, we'll see how Pittsburgh does. If they're performing to to the level that people thought maybe they could, like we talk about the addition of Carlson and the signing of the old core. Um, some people thought maybe that they would be performing this year. So, Crosby was like, okay, let me sign the team friendly deal, see if we're performing well. And, if they're not, and they do have a chance to trade him, like Biz is mentioning, why not trade him to Colorado, change their team name to the Colorado Tim Hortons, reallocate them back to Quebec City, and then
Oh,
call them the Quebec Tim Hortons, print cards of only Sid and McKinnon, and just sell those special packs and pay for the arena.
instead of T-shirt cannons, they do farmers wrap cannons.
Exactly.
They
And
just
they double down on the hash brown.
Oh my God, you
Yeah.
just asked that poor worker to shove a hash brown or a couple into the farmer's wrap. Are they actually in the farmer's wraps though?
Yeah, the farmer's wrap. They have a hash brown in it, and then whatever meat you want to put. Back in the days, they had the Beyond Meat when it was
Okay.
available, but now it's just straight up bacon, hash brown, and eggs, and some chipotle sauce. So that might be coming in the near future for Colorado. If ever Crosby signs there or gets traded, we'll see
It's not
if that will
happening.
ever come to fruition. But hey, if there's one take that I wish that Biz is mentioning that becomes true, that would definitely be one of it. So
100%. I think every hockey fan would agree. We just want to see him win another Stanley Cup, you know?
yeah,
Anyways, moving on to just a bit of Formula One news.
do you
You
want to
want to
keep
break?
that for last? And like I was gonna mention like last episode, um, we were talking about the H and the
Les
Montreal
habitants.
Canadiens is in the the Montreal Canadiens logo. It does not stand for habitant. So are you able to confirm what your boy told you?
Yes. So apparently, some guy referred to like the first time someone was like, "Oh, the H," like it actually stands for hockey. But all these Habs fans, I guess, they were like, "Oh, les habitants," because the French need their way.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, let's instead of hockey, let's just make something French, and we'll just you know blur the lines and make everyone think it's habitant, but it is in fact hockey. It's
We'll have to change the chance to go hockey go. Go hockey
mm,
go. Because now we've been lied to our whole life, so we're going to change our perspectives on every chant, change everything.
what
And
about ole ole ole? Hockey, 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 hockey.
that'd be kind of crazy. If honestly, like I think the Ole has been such an iconic thing where like now even other teams kind of like when the Habs are doing bad at their home arena, like their fans start like trashing us by singing the Ole. Like I know it happened a few times, probably not in the smaller markets, but I know like some of the bigger markets, like I've heard the Ole Ole appear in other arenas, so that's
Yeah.
always a little a dag in the heart. Um, More news on the Habs. Earlier this week, Oliver Kapanen, which had made the the main squad at the end of the training camp, was sent back home. So he had a clause in his contract that if ever he wasn't going to be playing with the Montreal Canadiens, that he'd be lent back to, I think it's Sweden. Yeah, Sweden, the Swedish Hockey League, Merles, the Timra, IK, the team
Yes,
that he always bets on. So they're getting an additional player, Oliver Kapanen. I was reading here that he's going back to play with his father. I think his father is coaching over
correct.
there. So good for him. Like hopefully he gets top minutes. I honestly love the way he played this year. Um, just showing some good flashes throughout the year, but they've been burying him on the fourth line the whole season. So I don't think that was the best thing for his development. So they shipped him back to Sweden. For the meanwhile, called back the goat Lucas Condota. I think he's the captain now in Laval. Englishman, captain in Laval. Obviously, controversy there. God forbid their captain doesn't speak French. Um,
That's
so yeah.
crazy. That's
Uh,
risky.
anything? Do you want to add anything on that one? Like, did you have any thoughts on Kapanen or?
Honestly, no. I'll be honest. Like, you think I'm watching the Habs? Yeah,
Honestly, this year I would not fault you if you weren't. So
yeah. Like, I thought when I noticed that they were playing yesterday, and I saw that you edited the notes page, I was like, oh my god, they must have had a crazy game.
yeah,
But well, in fact, massive scoring game, 12 total goals. But Buffalo, that brutal team, blew up in
yep,
the last few minutes once again. It was tied. Buffalo was like, let's get the extra point. Let's go to
yep.
overtime. Sound. I believe there was a power play goal that had the Habs go ahead, and then there was an
Hmm.
empty net. So suck on that, Sabres. But what do you think of the Habs overall since last week? Like, are you worried as a fan, big time fan? Like, do you think what they're doing is just down the right path?
I'm not worried because honestly, like I know the Habs are not to the point where to be near competing for a Stanley Cup, so I'm good with them sucking and like being a terrible team and competing again for the first overall pick, especially with Linus being injured. So I'm okay with it. Like me, I'm more worried about Martin St. Louis and his takes. I'm not like looking desperate, and I think the social media team and the Montreal Canadiens like gave him a heads up on that, saying, "Hey, like you can't look desperate every time the Habs lose. Like it's not a good look on your team. It looks like you're abandoning your players." But to go back to the Buffalo game, not a shocker at all. Before the game, I saw it was a noon game. I saw the Habs were playing the Sabres, and they were for sure gonna lose. That just shows that my hot take—that's not even a hot take anymore at the beginning of the season. The Sabres are a terrible team. Nothing's happening good in that organization right now. When you lose to the worst team in the league, 32nd, and you get scored 7 goals, Primo gets 5 goals allowed, and he gets taken out of the game. Motambelo's coming back to guard the nets for the Habs, and you still end up losing. That's just a shame for the Buffalo Sabres, and not a shocker for me anymore because that team's just going in shambles. But shout out Habs, first win in the last 7 games. Hopefully they keep losing the same pace as your Bolts, Glenn.
Yeah, but quickly before we go on to the Bolts, you mentioned Patrick Laine. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think that Finnish man is in the sauna every day, or do you think he purposely injured his leg just to play some Black Ops 6?
Um, I think his time in the sun is gone. He's been back on the ice. I think Black Ops 6 did come out recently, so the Habs organization was like, wait, let's take a look on his rehab and see what's happening. And they saw that he was walking just fine at home, so they just put him back on the ice. It's been 2 days now in a row that he's skating very light
That's
exercises.
nice.
So that's obviously like good news for the Habs to see him back, hopefully,
Yeah,
sometime soon. But
they saw he had a PlayStation and TV in the sauna, and they said, "Hey guys, like this is enough. Enough is enough. Come back to Montreal, start skating." But you mentioned the Tampa Bay Lightning.
mm-hmm.
I was I was honestly like teabagging you the last few podcasts, saying you're going to be spending $100 via e-transfer, and sure enough, I eat my words. And Tampa's on a 4-game losing streak. At least one of those games they lost in overtime, but still, like, not the way you'd want to go into a 6-day break. And guess who they play in a couple days? First game back. The Winnipeg Jets. So
Oh
you
my
know
God.
that's a fifth loss. You know that's a fifth loss.
Yeah.
So your boy's going to hedge. But the last week, we'll get into the BBB later. But been struggling on the bets, guys. I'm sure all of the fans out there are placing all of their bets following us, and they're losing hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars. But
Yeah, and to those fans, we apologize, but we'll get back on track
yeah,
soon. And like we kept talking about the giveaway that we'll be doing 1,000 subscribers, and I saw the news recently this week in the PWHL. They
yes.
officially released their jersey. So they
What a
released the logos.
segue.
You like that one? I
What a
know.
segue for the
Honestly,
boy.
we're getting there. We're getting there. But yeah, so they
Okay.
released the logos a few weeks back for the 6 teams, the Montreal Victoire. We didn't mention it, but like people were saying that they were getting confused because Victoire in French means like it's a victory, so you win a game. So they were trolling a bit how,
Oh yeah.
like like La Victoire de Montréal just had a win. So like
Le
if they
perdu de la victoire de
yeah, so
Montréal.
if they were to say that they were winning or losing, it just create confusion. But regardless, I'm bringing this point up because, well, the jerseys came out. Honestly, all of them look pretty good. They're made by Bauer, not this fantastic company, Fanatics. And if you were looking to buy the basically authentic replica of the home jersey with the GOAT, Marie-Philippe Poulain, for example, from
Yeah.
Montreal team, you're looking at a price of 275 Canadian dollars compared to the six, seven, $800 that we're seeing from Fanatics for the NHL jersey. So honestly, I'd like to give a shout out to Bauer, shout out to PWHL. The Montreal jersey honestly looks fire. So like, I
It
wouldn't be
does.
surprised if it soon appears in the back here to replace either the white or I'll probably leave the goat Beliveau in the back here. Shout out to Mr. Jean. So maybe the white jersey will leave at some point and be replaced by the PWHL MPP jersey. But yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out to them. Did you
Do
see
you?
the jerseys, Glenn?
Yes, I did. And what's her name? Taylor Swift should probably send a cease and desist or something to the Toronto. I don't even know their team name. What is the what's the S for?
Let
The
me double
spirit. The,
check.
the spirit.
Let me
Toronto's.
double check. Now continue with your idea.
But they completely ripped off a Taylor Swift jersey in one of her music videos, and it's not a good look. So all of those players will have to forfeit their salary for the rest of honestly, the rest of their careers, because Taylor Swift is going heavy on the
It's going
lawsuit.
to sue them. Their team name is the Toronto Specters. Quite interesting.
Spectres.
The Specters, and it's funny too because their logo is a T with an S in it. So Taylor Swift.
You should
Um,
look up the comparison. It's nuts. It's like
yeah.
they added one extra thing. Even the colors are the same.
Okay, I'll try to add it on the screen here. I'll replace Glenn's geezer old looking face by the Toronto Specters jersey
Yeah.
and the T Swift jersey if I'm able to make it. So
But speaking of
keep
the
an eye on that one.
PWHL, I'd love to, during the holidays, if their games
Hmm.
if they're playing in Montreal, I would be interested to go see a game.
Yeah,
Tickets will be cheaper than the
especially
Brutal
that this
Habs.
year. I don't know if you know, like last year they were playing in Verdun here, but this
Okay.
upcoming season they already announced it. Like all home games for the Montreal Victoire will be played at the Place Belle.
Oh, that's
All
sick.
home games. So honestly, like, shout out to
Great venue.
yeah, great venue. Honestly, it's like basically like a replica of the Bell Center, but with less seats. It honestly looks great, well made,
More spacious, the
way
seats.
more spacious. There's great views from anywhere you sit. Great for concerts, for
Yeah.
smaller artists that can afford it. So, yeah, that'd be a good idea if ever you like when you're in town.
No, I'm
It'll be
down.
way cheaper than watching the Habs lose a game. So we
Yeah.
might as well just watch the Montreal Victoire win a game
Yeah.
at the Place Belle. So great idea.
But yeah, moving on to some NHL news. Our boy, we saw, our boy, we saw this week when ex Edmonton Oiler player Dylan Holloway absolutely got sniped in the net, the Adam's apple, by a hockey puck. And somehow, because hockey players are absolute beasts, he continued his shift and it was like a delayed stun grenade in Call of Duty where but this was like a minute after.
He got stuck by a sticky grenade, so he just kept going for his breakaway, missed his shot, and then
Yeah,
exploded on the bench.
yeah, and the next thing you see, cutscene, boom, he's being carried off by a stretcher,
Hmm.
probably precautionary reasons.
Yeah.
They thought maybe the Semtex stunned his central nervous system and paralyzed him from the neck down, but 2 days after, he was back to practicing, so we're happy for our boy, Dylan Holloway. We already spoke about the Tampa 4 game losing streak. That's brutal. You want to cue this next thing up here? Philadelphia Flyers
Yeah, we're bringing it
in the
back. So,
news.
yeah, in the news once again. You
Shocker.
guys will never guess why exactly. So, John Tortorella is coming back again. He's just shuffling every player he has. So, in the middle of the week, he decided to bench Matvey Michkov, the Russian star, or upcoming star, I should say, to slot in Mr. Anthony Richard, ex Habs player, ex from a bunch of NHL teams player that's just been grinding in the AHL. Honestly, he's always performing well in the NHL, and then to the NHL level, he's not able to, I guess, follow the same rhythm. But he mentioned it like John Tortorella mentioned it's part of the learning process. But if I'm not mistaken, Michkov is by far their best player in the team, like points wise as well. So a bit
Yeah.
like last year, just benching the players in what seems to be the wrong time. And then obviously Michkov yesterday against not blanking the team that they play against.
No, it's
Uh,
okay. He
I had
got
a
a
bet on them,
point,
so I
man.
was very. It was San Jose. Sorry, so I had San Jose
Oh,
winning against the Phillies because Phillies obviously with all this turmoil, I was like, all right, San Jose's gonna win, and Mitch Gall just did the dirtiest move in the shootouts to give the advantage. Celebrini missed his deke as well, and then the Flyers ended up winning the game. So just
yeah.
we'll see how it goes with the Flyers. I don't think they're having as good as years last year. I don't think they will, but John T is
No.
back again with his little shenanigans.
I think, like this guy Mitchkov, he's a young player. He's clearly a star, but I think it's just trying to enforce good habits.
Hmm.
We know his offensive game is good. It's the game without the puck that I'm sure Torts is focusing on mostly. So it was just to send a message. Now with the language barrier, God knows if Michkov even got the message. But he said, "Oh, I get to play tonight," and sure enough, he got a power play point. He was up in Celebrina's face, and he gave the advantage, like you said, for the boys to win. So shout out to the Flyers.
Yeah.
Moving on here to some fake news
Yeah.
reported by some pigeon who just wants likes. News was reported that Sidney Crosby had the most face-off wins in NHL history, and everyone was doing the double wrister to Sidney Crosby, but shout out to our boy Merles on game notes. Check the game notes, guys. But it was fake news. Patrice Bergeron is the current leading face-off winner, but I think Crosby is like 300 off, so he'll eventually have the most. But Bergeron, as it stands, has the most and probably a very good percentage
Yeah.
compared to everyone else.
Yeah, he was dominating like back in his days. I know it's very very recent, but maybe like the person that put this tweet was maybe a bit fast on the fingers. Maybe like maybe he had seen maybe Crosby has the most in active players. But
Okay,
regardless, fake news. Don't post that shit. Check your sources. Check the game
100%.
notes, baby. I want to bring up the next point because I
Yes.
never actually got to talk to you about this, but um, Daniel Sprong. So we spoke about the breaking news at the beginning of the episode, but another famous player got traded this week. Future considerations.
Famous.
Yeah, so future consideration was traded to Vancouver in exchange for Daniel Sprong. Your
Yeah.
boy Daniel Sprong, the legend of the West Island. So he's packing his suitcase again. He's going back. I believe he's going back to Seattle. We actually had some success.
Yeah.
In my notes, it was just I had marked. I wanted to know what was the experience personally playing with the legend Daniel Sprong when you were what 3 years old.
No. I played Adam Double B. That was when your boy Glenny B peaked. No, I'd say a bit later, but nonetheless, my boy Daniel Sprong, this guy, like when I played Adam Double B with this guy, he was unbelievable. Like he would put up 8 points a game, like it was nothing.
Okay.
And you'd see his dad screaming at him in the parking lot, like, "Oh, you didn't score enough." And the poor guy would cry. Like I wouldn't blame him. You know what I mean? But yeah, my favorite memory, or the memory that I can add. I have a couple of memories of Daniel Sprong, but one of them was I was on his line. I was on his line one game,
Okay.
and it was like a 2-on-1, but like from the red line, and then his so much speed, both of us sound. Uh, he waited until the last second to pass it to me. It was like cross crease NHL, and
Yeah.
and your boy missed it, and he was pissed. But I remember this is definitely. We should put a disclaimer if you guys don't want to hear this slightly disturbing story. Daniel Sprong, one time at a tournament pre-game, the music was bumping, and like a bit of prefacing here. He was the only guy on our team that would go commando underneath his jock, and like everyone that's like 9 were like, "What the fuck?" Like, you're doing that? Like, what are you doing? And but this particular game, because he did it every game, that like I don't know what song it was, but the guitar in the song was just going crazy, and he used his he was like plucking the guitar strings, but like plucking his. I swear to God.
I'm not
And
even sure if we can put that on the
yeah,
internet.
yeah, we. This is going to be something that we share to our buddies. We are not posting this because God knows what that could do for this poor guy's career. But yeah, he was just strumming away at his. Was I didn't play well that game, as you can imagine.
I'm gonna beep every time you say the word.
Yeah, and then we can post it.
Yeah, exactly.
But you
So
guys could assume what he was strumming down there.
yeah.
And yeah, moving on from the awkward story. I am happy to see. I'm happy to see him back with Seattle, but it's honestly so weird. Like Vancouver, this like look, he's been playing well. He's a good
Yes.
offensive. He has good offensive end to his game, but
Yeah.
defensively, I believe teams would agree he is a bit of a liability.
Hmm.
Vancouver, you think Rick Tocchet was, patient with guitar strumming Sprong? I don't think so. So like he signed for like 975 or whatever it was, and then boom, 12 games, 13 games later,
Yeah.
shipped back to his old team. How many teams has this guy played for already? I know he entered the league with, I
Way too many.
believe, Pittsburgh. He's been with Washington. He's been with
Detroit.
Seattle, Vancouver, Detroit. Like who? It's insane. He should just say fuck it, sign no long-term deals, play for all 32. Like, how sick would that be? And then like Avalanche, like you said before, they changed the fucking Quebec Nordiques, and then he only player to play for 33 teams. Like it would be so sick, you know.
That
But
should be his next purpose in NHL. Because yeah, this summer when he wasn't like signing a contract with any team, I was kind of curious because he did have a
yeah,
pretty good year last year. But yeah, so Mr. Offense, Mr.
yes,
Guitar Players, packing his bags again and
yeah.
going back to Seattle. So hopefully it's a good thing for him to go back there.
And quickly,
Yeah.
slightly other disturbing story, but that same team, there was another there was another teammate of mine in the dressing room. He was right beside me when he did this trick, but he would do like a hip thrusting trick, and his would like hit the back of his bum and then like fold back up, but it was making like a snapping noise. Like it was like a strong snap. I won't say his name. I'll tell you off air, but yeah, that's I think that's why I just never never went to the big leagues because that Adam Double B year was definitely
Yeah, you
um,
told yourself if this is what the NHL is, I want none of it. Get me
that
out of here.
yeah, I can only imagine what the boys are doing in the dressing room. But moving on here
Yeah,
to an ex Tampa Bay Lightning player who I believe me, correct me if I'm wrong, but they traded away 20 first round picks to
yeah,
acquire Tanner Jeannot.
yeah. I
Uh,
was gonna say for those that don't know who Tanner Jeannot is, they might have thought he was a superstar when Tampa Bay acquired him, giving away pretty much all their future for this goon.
Straight up.
Played a couple of seasons. I think he got injured that year, especially in the
Yes.
playoffs. So they paid all those picks. Didn't play in the playoffs. He's out of Tampa,
Nashville fleeced him.
and now basically what he's doing is he's trying to copy Jacob Trouba with those little elbows, you know, to the head.
Chicken
So
wing.
yeah,
Chicken wing, yeah.
he hit Brock Besser. We already know Brock Besser has had injuries in the past or issues with injuries in the past. So that's definitely not something that you want to see happen to him, especially
Cronkies.
after his year last year. So yeah, 3 game sussy, first of the year. I'm honestly happy with 3 games. Like, you know, last year I think a couple calls were kind of sus, and they wouldn't give enough games. Going with the 1-2 games, being more passive on that.
Yeah.
But seeing the first sussy awarded 3 games, I think that sets a good base.
Good
So
standard. Yeah.
hopefully, like worse hits get even more games this year.
Hmm.
And I just hope the NHL just gets off those fines. You know, like $2,000 fine for taking your stick and shoving it down the guy's throat and cutting his neck in half. It's not enough. You know, like stop with those fines that were established in the 1900s. It's a brand new era. Inflation. If we're stuck paying $5 for 2 bananas, they better be paying more than $1,000 for slashing someone in the neck, for example. But good precedents.
That's
Shout
a
out.
CBA. That's a CBA issue too. Like
Mm-hmm.
the maximum, the maximum fine, I believe, without suspension or even with suspension, it's 5,000.
Yeah.
So, for a guy who's making like 10 million a year and he just decided to slash a guy like across the neck, he doesn't care
Mm-hmm.
for that 5K fine. But tee off the next, tee off the next point here,
Yeah. Like
broski.
in the notes we have the playoff picture on November 8th, but I think it's too early, so I wouldn't be surprised if it already changed. So for this epi, we'll change it, but I'm down to do it like let's say a same day kind of thing. But in the early outlook, shocker, Tampa, Toronto. Well, Tampa's not making the playoffs, so shocker. This
No,
image is not even
they
valid.
are. They are though, and you're
So
gonna
we
send me
can
a
we
hundred
can
dollars.
easily skip that over because Tampa's not making the playoffs because they're a trash team.
Sound.
But the next point I see here, last game Edmonton Vegas, Mark Stone scores an empty netter, and after the play, he looks like he's suffering from a little injury. He ends up missing the Saturday game with what they claim is a lower body injury, and he's listed day to day. So um, I saw the notes that the team was being very confident that he'd be back soon, but you know right away the trolls are back, Glenn. What are
Trolls are
the
back.
trolls saying? Sorry.
They're saying, "See you in April, Mark Stone." Like this,
It's crazy.
if this happens for a third year in a row, because it looked like honestly, I don't even know how on that play he got injured. It might have been previously, but it was McDavid bat checking when they were down 3-2, and he slashed him like sort of around the arms. But then right after the goal was scored, Stone premeditated. He's like, "Ah," like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you know he's been skipping sauna sessions. He's like, guys, I want to get injured. Like, we need someone else. We got to make a push this playoff, season. So let me do what I've been doing the last 2 years. It used to be the Kucherov special, but
Yep.
now that is no more. The Vegas Golden Knights are like crazy when it comes to
Yep.
putting someone on LTIR and then boof, like magic, he's back game one of the playoffs. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think that Mark Stone doing it back to back years, it completely made people forget that Kucherov was the OG. I'm going to
Oh yeah.
segue from this fake injury to a real injury, an unfortunate one. Anthony Mantha from the Calgary Flames.
Yeah.
It was announced recently that he's out for the rest of the season with the ACL injury. When I read
Brutal.
that, honestly, I felt kind of bad for Mantha and like Calgary as a whole because, like, in the few highlights or games of the games that I saw from that team, I thought that Huberto and Manta were building a nice connection together,
Yeah.
even though they've been both playing on the third line, which is just that a surprise. Like,
That's
I
nuts.
think it's kind of unfortunate. Huberto, we're picking it up again, dishing the puck around to Manta, and Manta's a natural scorer, like in his prime days. So they were both picking it back up. So that's if you're gonna hurt, like Calgary as a whole is gonna hurt
Yeah.
Manta. That was on a 1 year deal, I think. We'll see what the future brings for him, but that's definitely something that brought a little downer for the Calgary Flames.
It sucks. Yeah. Calgary's been off to a pretty hot start and, getting points whenever they can. I noticed this past week, I think it was Thursday or no, yeah, last Thursday they were playing Boston in Boston. Boston was up 3-1 and Calgary pushed back, forced overtime. They lost in with like 15 seconds left in overtime, but still like they got the point. Like they're trying to make the playoffs here. They're like the GM assembled a team that just wants to play strong. You never know what happens after like a good season or whatever. So it sucks to see a massive guy, Anthony Mantha. You know how much stress was going into that ACL. Snapped like some barbed wire. So, wishing a speedy recovery for the boy.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned the Flames, like still trying to make playoffs, have their hopes high. But one team that I don't think will have any issues qualifying for the playoffs is the Winnipeg Jets. And I saw in the notes what you mentioned about Connor Hellebuck, the most complicated name to spell in the history of the NHL. Shout
I
out
know,
to
yeah,
you for getting
yeah.
it right. But I honestly did not
I
see
was
that
right.
yet, so I'll
Huh.
have to go back and take a look at it. But please tell me what happened between
So
the Jets and the
yeah,
Dallas Stars.
yeah. So I believe it was they were up 4-0 in the third period against the Dallas Stars, and with the Four Nations tournament coming up in the new year, everyone's talking about who's going to be, slotted on each team. And this game was a great, face off for both potential number one goalies for the USA team. And the Jets fans had they had the last laugh because Hellebuck was, at the time, I think the game ended, like he didn't get a shutout,
Yeah,
but at the time it was looking like he was going to get a shutout, and the fans in that arena were saying "U.S. backup,"
yeah,
to Jake Ottinger. So you shrink in that net when you hear that from those
yeah.
fans.
That was
Crazy.
absolutely crazy because they've been talking about it, like the USA situation with all the goalies they have. Like I still honestly think that Ottinger might start for the US team just
Really?
because of his overall like gameplay, but just a Jets fan like thinking about that and starting that chant. Honestly, huge shout out to them. Um, Very scary look for the U.S. in that tournament. We'll see when the final lineup gets announced. I'm curious to see if Jake the Fighter Bennington um,
True.
will make it. Let's see for the Canadian team. But yeah, shout out to Winnipeg, first team in NHL history to win 14 of their first 15 games.
Yeah.
I think we're both pigeons on that one.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Oh,
that's pretty
1,000%.
crazy.
But think about it here. Let's say they go 82-1.
Hmm.
Sorry, 81-1. It's not 83 games in a season, Glenn.
Yeah,
Come on.
come on.
Um, what happens in Winnipeg come playoff time? The whiteout.
Exactly.
Hellebuck is gonna be like this.
Where's the puck?
He's not gonna see shit, and they're gonna get walked in 5 again. So I'm gonna stay true to, like, I know it was a brutal early season pick, but I just have a feeling that they will not win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, so we'll see if our brutal early season pick is
Yeah.
as bad as the buzzer beater bets.
Dude, you're on fire today with the transitions. Those fruit looked amazing.
Let's see if I'm back. If it lagged, honestly, I'm sorry. I'm getting the wired connection to my laptop this week, but this week. I think I'm starting with yours here. Let me set it up on the screen.
Don't show my horrible bet.
Let me see. Let me see who's first. It might be me. Oh, shocker. First bet of the week.
Wow.
Glenn, please run us through. What the hell were you thinking with that bet, please?
So when your bankroll's low, you just want to shoot for the stars. And I completely disregarded my whole plan or my whole,
Oh, my bad.
it's okay. You don't need to show that horrible pick. No, but like I don't know, Claude Giroux and Norris to both score, and then Ottawa to score last. Like that's not happening, Glenn. But whatever. Neither of them scored. I don't even think they scored last that game. So
No,
yeah, they didn't because it was a
all
red
three
X.
of it, everything was red
So suck on that,
for
Glenn.
that bet.
I don't know what to do anymore. Like I took a break this week of betting. It's brutal looking at the Messenger app and you just see all your boys putting locks for NFL and like maybe one of them hit. I'm gonna ask you about that later. But
Oh,
yeah, I need to just dial it back in, get back to the first week winning vibe, and keep it simple. Stupid. Shout out to Kiss. Anyways, show
yeah.
yours.
Talking about
Oh,
simple, a honestly another devastating loss. Baxter,
brutal.
my bet, obviously Ovechkin's been on fire. I think this is my third or fourth attempt. Like without the last goal, because this is only restricted to BBBs. But I think 3 or 4 times this season, Alex Ovechkin to score, John Carlson to get an assist. All 4 times it didn't hit, and the next day, shocker, it hits every single time. So now
The
I'm gonna wait
next
a couple
day,
games. The next game, every time I would bet it, it doesn't happen. The next Capitals game, Ovechkin scores at least a goal, and Carlson has at least a point. So at this point, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do anymore. Um, but I've just been taking L's lately.
it's
Um,
tough, man. Betting's tough.
it is pretty tough. So I'll put us back on the screen here. I'll share one more thing. So there's still positive on your side, Glenn. So I'll be sharing my fantastic, cumulative view.
Show the numbers.
I'll show the numbers. Let's see what the damage looks like for all of those of our family that have been following us. So Glenn, so far $15. We'll call it investments. I say bid. Nah, it's an investment.
Yeah,
Still a win from the first week. He's still in the profit on my side.
I'll take it.
Dash 15. What an embarrassment. I cannot wait to color up that total column. And hopefully it'll come sooner than later. Because at this point, honestly, like I said, it's just brutal. It's just brutal. It makes no sense to,
Yeah,
honestly, to.
let's talk BBB here. Like, look, it would be boring to just do a $5 bet on just the one thing
Hmm.
because it's like a 1.7 or not
For
even.
the good teams, honestly, like I've been looking at it, and like for the quote unquote bad teams, it can go up to a 2 to 1. So it wouldn't be that bad
Mm.
if we always snipe, the worst team that could potentially score the last one.
But for the podcast, like
We want to make it exciting.
exactly.
You know what I
So
mean?
let's change the rules to if we're betting $5, it has to be three selections.
Mm-hmm.
So just like what we both had.
Mm-hmm.
And if if we wanted to spend 10 or 15
Mm-hmm.
on a crappier team scoring last, that's when it's just the last goal
Yeah.
and we can double. Like, you down for that?
Yeah. You won't see me doing that because I'll keep cooking. I'll keep cooking for those fans out here. In the NFL, I cook every week. I try to figure out what's the logic in the NHL. I might have to find a guy called Vegas Insider in my friend group. Honestly, like I might just have to follow Kyle in his Toronto, but I just hate betting on Toronto. But somehow
We're not betting on Toronto.
I'm not betting on Toronto. That's
BBB
BBB number
rule
one.
0-1.
Exactly. But BBB zero, you never bet on last time goals unless on the podcast.
Yeah.
BBB one, you never rely on the Leafs. So I was gonna swear, but honestly, fuck it. Fuck you, Kyle. I'm never betting on the Leafs. They're trash.
Yeah,
Um,
Kyle.
so that basically concludes the little hockey segment. I think like we've been doing the last few weeks, it's important to always talk about the F1.
Love the F1.
So recently, in the past week, no Grand Prix, so no Perez summary from Glenn this week. But there has been major news. We can say major news. So, Kick, Stake F1 team, Kick Sauber, the longest team in history in Formula One.
Yeah.
Well, they decided to finally sack both of their drivers. So it was
Both.
confirmed that Valtteri Bottas, Zhou Guanyu, are both not coming back. They say mutually agreed, but honestly, after you signed was it Hulkenberg?
Hulkenberg.
Yeah, after you signed Hulkenberg, you know for a fact at least one of them sacked. So you
Yeah.
can't say mutually agreed with both of them. They've been
True.
sacked. Honestly, like it's been great seeing them race with them. They've been one of the worst teams in the last couple of years. They will become Audi at some point. We'll see if that changes up things here.
That's why Hulkenberg signed there.
Exactly. He's
He's
just
German.
a professional, like crashing the car, so they don't have to race and figure out how to make a good car for the next year before they turn into Audi. So next year they'll be able to crash a car, and when they actually switch to Audi, then they won't keep Hulkenberg, Glenn. They're gonna sack Hulkenberg,
Really?
and they're gonna find someone else. That's my hot take.
That's
We'll
your hot
see.
take?
Oh, 100%. I
Well,
think he's just a placeholder. They know their car will not be good next year. And if the guy has to crash a car, they don't have to work on it. They don't have to figure out what makes it good or bad. So they'll just have another terrible year next year. With
true.
the brand new driver called Gabriel Bortoleto. So this Brazilian kid
With an
uh,
Italian name.
with an Italian name, he's a championship leader right now in Formula 2. They say he's graduating F1. I think he's the first Brazilian driver since Felipe Massa in the F1.
Ooh.
I don't know if you were watching the F1 in the Felipe Massa days,
Just like here and there.
but you'll see when this kid goes and drives in his hometown, the Brazilian fans are insane. It is so sick to watch. So I think that's one of the main reasons that they brought him within the team. A bit like we did with Zhou Guanyu, with his Chinese like origin. So when they were having the Grand Prix there, I was always like a vibe. So I think like they got what they needed from that, on the marketing aspect. And then bringing this new Brazilian kid, you'll see next year at the Brazilian Grand Prix, it is going to be the most insane atmosphere, especially if it performs well. So
Damn.
that I'm just giving you a little heads up because when obviously Massa was a legend, and like it's I'm not comparing it to Massa obviously, but it's just
Yeah, yeah.
to say on the marketing point of view. And for him, they do mention it's a multi-year contract, so he will probably go on and drive with Audi as well. So he's a championship in F2. It's the AHL of F1, so I'm sure he'll have success in F1. But just shout out to Valtteri Bottas. Glenn, do you want to talk about what he decided to do on this week off?
Yeah. Dude, this guy is a machine. Super finished. Guy has a sauna built into his house. What a beauty. But he just decided to do an Ironman
Yep.
at his home. So I saw a quick video. This guy swam 3,800 meters in his small backyard pool. And then on his Peloton, shout out Peloton, that's a company I'd love to be sponsored by. I,
Yep.
I take Peloton classes almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, this guy, I think it was 180 kilometers or something. Like, of a
I think
bike
so,
ride
something like
and
that.
then a
Yeah.
full marathon on the treadmill. So it's like it was like 11 hours. He burned 7,000 calories.
Yeah.
Like what a machine
I'm
on his
not sure if it
off
was
week.
edited. Yeah, on his
It could
off
have.
week,
It
like
could have been. Could have been.
he has like nothing to do because, like I say, it might have been edited. He probably took breaks, obviously, because he's not gonna
Oh,
just
he
crush in
did.
one
Yeah,
shot.
yeah, yeah.
But you just see it like the video starts in the morning, and by the time he's like painfully finishing his marathon, it's dark outside. He's like rolling his muscles, like
Yeah, foam rolling. Yeah.
yeah, foam roller. He's just trying to recuperate. So we'll see if this week, if he crashes in P1, like we won't be surprised. Like, his just legs will just spontaneously just spasm. He'll
Yeah.
press on the gas pedal instead of the brake pedal and just lose control of his car because of Mr. Man decided to run an Ironman for fun. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Him not going to Q2 is a 1.01 to 1. So, guys, like if you want to get the worst margin of profit ever, hammer that bet.
yeah, and
Imagine he goes to Q2.
it'd be kind of crazy. We'll see if that's even available. If it is, we'll post on our Instagram. Follow us there. We'll post our next buzzer beater bets. If that option is available on Bet365 for Bottas to qualify for Q2, we'll see what we can cook for you guys. It'll be on Instagram. Um, Random last note to end the podcast. I'm gonna be running an Ironman as well this weekend, but it won't be, or actually not this weekend, but very soon, at the beginning of December. Not in real life, but on Fortnite. The OG Fortnite map is
Wow.
back. You'll watch me running across the map, thousand kilometers, swim across the ocean, and find a bike somehow. They'll probably introduce a bike, but
Motorcycle.
I'm gonna be playing OG Fortnite. If you want to play with us, write your PSN name tags in the comments below. We'll add you back, even if you have no idea who we are and we have no idea who you are. That could be a great content idea. Let's say we get our first random subscriber. I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah.
If it's your first time you see us, I might post this on our TikTok. So I'm gonna like do a little fake editing. We're gonna play OG Fortnite. If this is the first time you see us playing, drop your PSN below. We'll add you if we actually get people commenting that we don't know. We'll do a squad game. I'll find a way to record it and we'll post on our YouTube channel. The OG Fortnite's back. So I'll wait a bit before posting this video, but that'd be kind of
That's the
crazy now that I
secret.
think
That's the
about it.
secret word for the podcast. It's really just a
Exactly.
gamer tag.
Yeah, straight up. Post your
So
gamer tags. We'll add you. And
can't wait for OG Fortnite. That was truly one of
yeah.
the best games, most enjoyable
Mm-hmm.
gaming sessions, like with the boys. You know what I mean? Like I still remember. Shout out Daniel if he's
Shout out.
listening. The fish skin. That guy, he loved that skin.
Yeah.
Never asked him why, and I don't know if I want to. But shout out Daniel. We're going to force him to play some Fortnite,
Facts.
and Chris and Kyle, and yeah, boys. This wraps up episode 6 of the Last Buzz podcast. Quickly before we let you go, just subscribe. You're going to enter the chance to win a brutal Fanatics jersey right above the practice, right above the practice jersey, guys. Not the authentic pro. Or if you happen to be a woman that wins the prize, we're gonna get you a Marie-Philippe Poulin 200 and something dollar official jersey.
Yeah.
And
We'll save a couple buck.
oh
And at the
yeah,
same time. So
exactly,
honestly,
a win-win.
man or woman, new condition in the giveaway. It's either the level above practice jersey, NHL jersey, or the official replica, and the PWHL will support both leagues. Shout out, don't forget to like. Well, you have to subscribe, because the first 1,000 subscribers will win. And on that note, I don't think there's anything else to say but to thank our family and see you next time.
Later, peace.
Bye!